Welcome to another episode of Soul Filling, where you get your soul fed. I'm Tiffany.
I'm Jasmine. And I'm Kobe.
And today we are talking about failure. We're going to get into the nitty gritty of everything failing. And I know y'all are thinking, Tiffany, we don't want to talk about failing. We want to talk about being prosperous, getting these blessings, getting this coin, being where the money resides, where the money resides. Well, let me tell you something real quick before we get into what fed your soul this week. Sometimes the money resides after the failure, okay? It crashed you to get to where the money resides. Hallelujah.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
So,
amen.
Okay. But before we get into the nitty gritty, of course, we are going to talk about what fed our soul this week. Who wants to go first? I'm laughing because I think mine's going to be kind of funny.
Go for it, Tiff. Start us off.
Okay, this one just came up. Okay. So I just went to Black Market Houston. Of course, we talk about this place so much because it's my brother's business where a whole bunch of Black-owned businesses are in one place, and we shop there, we eat food, we listen to music, and have so much fun. So I just love being there. My soul definitely gets fed when I'm there. But what I realized this, like, I know a lot, like a lot of people there because I'm there all the time. So I know like the consistent vendors and things of that nature. But yesterday, I just kept hugging men. Like, I just kept hugging, like you're saying, hey, how you doing? How you been? Like people like haven't seen or haven't seen. And it just felt so filling to just be hugged by a Black man. And y'all know I've been single for so long. So these little spurts of like tidbits of intimacy, y'all, I also want to tell you, Kobe and Jasmine, do not take for granted being held and hugged every day by a Black man, because Lord, I said, hold up. I'm like, why am I enjoying this so much? Because
Girl, no, look, that's one of my love languages. I like to be touched. Okay, I like to be held. So, girl, I don't ever take it for granted. Yes.
And so definitely everybody was platonic and stuff like that. But I was just like, wow, it just felt like a sense of like protection and love. And that's how like you were saying, that's your love language. Like with my family, with my friends, like I love being hugged by them. I love being like, I just feel like it's just a beautiful way to express love. It's just touching in the most appropriate way. But when I am in a romantic relationship, we'll talk about that when we get there, because I don't know what's gonna happen. So that's how my soul was fed this week.
I love it. I love that. Oh, yes. I love a good hug. It is scientifically proven that hugging for 20 seconds or more releases oxytocin in the body. That's the love hormone, the feel-good hormone that eliminates that cortisol, which is the stress hormone. So yes, a good hug.
I wanted to say something about that. I'm glad you brought it up, the scientific version of that, because which decreases your cortisol in you, which is the stress, right? So cortisol, a lot of people don't understand that cortisol, it links to so many diseases that we have, like a heart disease and heart attacks and stuff like that. So being able to get some oxytocin, serotonin, like to like really make you happy is so important, because you can eat as healthy as you want, you can exercise as good as you want, but if you're still stressed all the time, that can correlate to disease too. So doing more stuff to make you happy is so important. And I'm so glad that you said hugging for like 20 seconds, because I do something so weird. I always hug a tree like when I go walking now, because and one time I just felt like the need to hug a tree, and I'm like, what the heck, like why do I feel the need to hug a tree? So I looked it up, and I was like, what are the benefits of hugging a tree? And they said exactly that, like that also releases oxytocin as well. But okay, this is a whole tangent, guys, I'm sorry.
Wow.
But also, I just really feel like you want to be one with nature and really love everything and everybody, because trees also, like, there was a tree in the park that I walk in that like fell down, like it was sectioned off and stuff like that, and it like hit I think a person. So I'm not saying by hugging a tree it's not going to fall down, but I'm also saying hug a tree and give it love, so maybe it won't fall down on somebody. Anyways, I have a weird way of thinking, but I just love nature, so don't judge people who hug trees. And I do know drugs.
Oh gosh, that's funny, but that's beautiful. I love it. My aunt sent me a video this week, and it was David Banner, and the message was just really simple: you choose your emotional path. And he told a story about an African tribe who got word that these white savages were coming to take over their tribe. And so the chief was like, we can do three things. We can stay and fight, or we can run and survive, or we can, no, he said stay and die, run and live, or stay and fight. But if we stay and fight, we have to become them, or even worse, we have to become worse than them, right? And so David Banner goes on to talk about, his life in the industry, in the music industry. And he was talking about how he met someone, and they also told him that just because you're right doesn't make the decision or what you decide to do right. So like if somebody wrongs us, you feel like you can, cut, stab, kill, throw them out the window, whatever. You can do whatever you want to them because you're right. So that was another lesson he learned. And so whenever he was, like I said, in the music industry and people had wronged him, tried to take advantage of him, tarnish his name, he said the one thing that he did not do was become those people. He made a conscious decision to just do the right thing. It wasn't about being right, being, wrong, hurting somebody. It was just, I'm going to do the right thing. Because, for some of us, we believe in hell. Some of us believe in karma, whatever you want to call it, So you got to do the right thing. And that doesn't mean, letting people push you over. He went into talking about that. You can still stand and fight. But the other thing to that is so many people become, excuse my language, fuck boys and fuck girls because people have, wronged us. And now we're intentionally going out and trying to wrong somebody or trying to avoid being hurt. So we are hurting people who don't deserve to be hurt. Right? So all that to say, soulmates, you choose your emotional path.
Ooh,
wow. Girl, that's good. That just made me think of a million things. But one thing I wanted to stay on is how, sometimes and this is like a sense of pride. Sometimes our pride wants us to stay and fight, even though it's just because we're right. Like you said, just because you're right don't necessarily mean you're right for the fight. Or just because you're right doesn't necessarily mean that it's the time in that place. Now I finally understand what it means when your parents would always say, it's a time and a place for that. It's a time and a place for that. But that's powerful. That's really powerful because I know the way the world is right now is so many. This is Black History Month. And so Black people, we want to do so much, which rightfully so. We want to say so much. We want to act and take action. But sometimes it's like, is it at what cost? And is it the right time to do that? And timing is everything. Timing is everything. And so just being in alignment with when the time comes, be ready, but just also being aware, is it even the time for this right now? So that's powerful. And then
and that's the thing, like as Black people, we feel like, we are so strong, we Black, we're powerful. So we feel like sometimes we are the aggressor. Like we can be the one who can, really hurt somebody, and it's a beautiful thing. We're able to kind of take a step back and just be like, you know what, I'm gonna take the higher road.
I love this so much because me and my mom were just talking about that. It goes back to like, choose your battles. Not your every battle is not yours to fight. And that's a lot of times why we have to, you know, the Lord, because, you know, and we could avoid so much stress and so much hurt and pain if we just go the other way. Because, and I want to talk about this like in the Black community as well. It's just like, we don't have to go with we don't have to fight all the time. We can say like, you know, I don't know if people still do this, but it's like as adults, and I don't think they should. If somebody is talking about you, so-and-so is telling you this, so-and-so is telling you that, sometimes you have to really think to yourself, does that even matter? Does that even matter? You don't have to confront someone. You don't always, you don't always have to make it a big deal. You could just say, oh, really? You could choose to believe that person or not, and then just act accordingly. Just you could just love them from afar, like we say a lot of times, but it doesn't always have to be a big blow up. Literally, because that energy that you're spending fighting and going back and forth, and he said, she said, all this stuff, I can't that energy could be going into something so much more loving, spending time with your family, spending time doing your business, spending time bettering yourself and helping others. But meanwhile, when you are participating in that battle that you're not supposed to be in, sometimes you're going to get scars, consequences. You could end up places that you're not supposed to be in. You could lose things that you're not supposed to lose. So really think to yourself, is this battle need to be fought? And if it needs to be fought, let me fight it in a very strategic way that is with good intent. Like, even if someone did you wrong, it does not matter. You know, sometimes you have to take a different road.
A different road. A different road. And because like you said, you'll end up going into this battle and leaving with scars and wounds that was so unnecessary to have. And like Kobe was saying, then you'll carry those scars, and then it'll cause you to be guarded in other relationships, other situations, other just aspects in life that you probably don't even really necessarily need to have such high guards for. And then you, like you said, you'll end up hurting people based on that past situation, because we have an idea about just, about a overall, how we love to generalize things because we had one bad experience with this type of person. So if you're that type of person, you're probably going to bring me that same type of bad experience. I don't date
Aquariuses now, y'all. Look.
Them Scorpios and Leos, y'all Geminis, like just all kind of stuff. That just, girl, and it's just like, just because of that one battle you had with that one person, it's like, just because you were scarred by that one type of person. Oh, them people from Houston, they don't know. Like, it's like more than a million people in Houston, and you're going to generalize a whole type of person just because one person you met from Houston and broke your heart. Like, no. So yeah, that's good. So just being way more intelligent, way more strategic. And that was one of the things for me for my gem of the week. I was coming from an Instagram IGTV episode, and I was trying to find it this morning to go and put my facts so I can review it, because you just come across these videos and you try to go back to them and you can't find them. I should have saved it. That should have been one of my saves. But it was from Charity Crop. I went to college with him. Shout out to Charity. He's doing his thing on social media right now, but I cannot find that exact video. And basically he made a video for Black History Month, and he was just comparing and contrasting the basically it was about reparations. Now I'm remembering, it's coming back to me. So how the huge talk about reparations for Black people and how it would help or how it wouldn't help, or should we have it or should we not? More of the story, he says we should have it. But the one thing that really stood out in the video was like, even if we were to get our reparations, it's so much more than just giving us money that we need. It's so much more than just handing us a $1,400 check. It's so much more than handing us $600. The money would be great. I'm not going to God. We're not going to say we don't want the money. We want the money where we want to be, where the money reside, of course. But we also want to be where the healing reside. We also want to be where the love reside, the unity reside, the strategy, and all of those things that comes with it. Being strategic in even our social interactions. Like Kobe was saying, should we even take this battle? Should we hold our heads up high and be like, sometimes you have to even be stronger to hold your anger in check, or your tongue in check when you want to go and tell somebody off because you know they wrong, or you know they lying, or you know A, B, and C. Like, just keep it together until the time is right. And so saying all that to say is just, Black people, I'm talking to us specifically right now because I am a Black woman and I can't deny that. And I have Black brothers and Black sisters and, Black friends and Black people that I just truly love. And I just want for us moving forward in 2021 and beyond to just be more strategic in all that we do. Be strategic in our finances, be strategic with, our self-esteem, our image, our just everything that we're doing. Just be strategic about it, because the world is being strategic, and I don't want us to get left behind like we've always been. I was having a conversation with my friends last night, and the moral of the conversation is we don't want to keep letting life happen to us. We want to navigate where our life is going. So let's just be a lot more strategic, even if that's just with your day-to-day interactions with people. Just being strategic and having good intentions, like Tiff was said, with your strategicness.
That's also good. This is bringing up something for me with Black men in general, when it comes to battles, because or men, no, I don't know about other men, but black men in general, just feeling like they have to like really, like that's a way to show that by these battles, sometimes feeling like that's a way to show their strength, when, like you were saying, Jazz, the strength comes from, being able to manage your emotions and stuff like that. So that's something for a whole nother podcast that we could definitely dig deep in. So I'm excited that our soul filling gems just made a whole nother soul filling episode. But today we are going to get into failure to launch. I think that's what we're going to name this podcast. And I just want to talk about failure today because I feel like God talks to me in threes. So there was 3 situations where this topic came to mind. And so basically the first time was, if you listen to our past episode with Ashley from Bird Williams, business strategist. And basically she was just talking about how much she failed, and she's like, I'm not scared to fail. I'll fail all day, because I know that it will get me to the next lesson, but it will help me grow. There's so much growth in failing. And then the second person who really stuck out to me was my brother. There's this system there was this tool, this task that I was doing for him for Black Market that ate up so much of my time. And I was just like, bro, I can't do this. So I came up with a way to systemize this task. And I was really kind of very afraid to say, hey, can we do it this way instead? Sometimes we're just really scared to speak up. And he was just saying oh, okay, let's try it. And that ease in which he said, okay, let's try it and see if it works or not, really was such a teaching moment to me, to say hey, if something is worth trying, just try it and see how it goes. If not, go back to the regular way. If so, we'll keep proceeding with this way or make a better way. And then thirdly was my manager from the job I work at. She is amazing. She's a really good manager. And she was just saying in our one-on-one meeting, I really want our team to fail more. And she was just saying that because she wants us to try new ideas and to be able to get to the goals that we set in place. And as this company continues to grow. And so this is all going through my mind, failure, and unlearning what failure has been presented to us as a society for so long. Like we were talking about on the other podcast, failing has been seen growing up, at least maybe I put this in my own head, but it's just get good grades, go to college, all these things, but they don't teach you. They teach you be successful, but they don't teach you that you are going to fail. And if you fail, this is what you're going to do, because there's a big difference between failing and getting back up or failing and going downstream. And what we're talking about today is taking those failures, learning from them, and then growing. We're not staying at that failure. And also we're not staying at a point where we're so scared of failure that we do nothing. And so that's why I really want to talk about failure today. I just want to know y'all's thoughts about it.
Oh, I wanted to say, oh, girl. Oh, wait, before I say something, y'all go follow us everywhere. Subscribe, smash that subscribe button, hit that bell notification right now so you don't miss none of these episodes. Like, comment, share, all that good stuff. But yeah, girl, they tell us to be successful, but then they don't tell you that with success comes failure. Like, it's inevitable. Like, it kind of like goes together. And so a lot of times what we try to do, what I'm gonna just speak for myself, we try to avoid failure. Like it's like we walking on eggshells, trying to hop over like the hot lava. You trying to not miss it, like don't miss the crack. I'm not gonna step on the crack. I'm trying to avoid. It's like we hop in, and instead of just going through the mud, instead of trying to avoid the mud. And so I think once we get that understanding in mind, things just become so much easier. So like my friend, I'm gonna be referencing my friend because I just came from her house last night. And so we was all like hyping her up because she did the same thing Deborah did. And what she did was she grew a booty, right? And so, 20, girls, that's always one of our goals, to grow a booty, have a nice booty. So, we about to talk about booties, but really it's all subjective to how it translates in real life. And so we were all like, girl, what you did, girl, what happened? Like, she was just like, I literally just started going to the gym. And at first I didn't see results. And it was for a long time. She's like, I didn't see results because she's a really thin framed person. So she's saying gaining weight was always very, very difficult for her. So I was like, wow, girl, you is inspiration. Like, and me personally, I didn't know her because this is one of my newer friends. I didn't know her from the before then, but all her other friends that were there. Well, I'm not gonna say, it wasn't a lot of us. It was like 4 of us. But her other 2 friends had been knowing her since, middle school. Like, we knew each other. So they knew the transition. And so I was just like inspired. And I was thinking to myself, the reason why we're so inspired by your story is because you actually have the results to show. You actually done the thing that, everybody wants, right? And so that made me think about everything we're doing right now. The reason why people become so inspired with our stories is because they seen us go through that failure and come out on the other side of failure. And so it just like, so when failure comes about in our lives, guys, it's so important that we go through it, because the going through is what's going to inspire those in your circle, those outside of your circle, those people that are trying to go through and accomplish similar things to you. So I was like, girl, she like just seeing, I was like, you were inspiring me to get in the gym and get back serious. Cause this quarantine had me shook it off it a little bit, but I'm going to really apply that to everything. And then it was just hearing her speaking first person, like, things we already know, manifestations. Like, she was like, I just told myself when, and she was like, I told myself if, and she was like, no, scratch that. When I grow this, I'm going to just feel so much better. And I was just like, yes. And so when we do that thing that we're trying to do already, like, not even you're going to feel so much better, because what she did say is I began to even feel better in the process of it. Like, it was hard. It was challenging, but then you just get on that flow. You get in, when you get in your zone to where what was hard in the beginning just kind of seemed like, oh, I does this. I was reading this book by Jim Rohn. He's an amazing, amazing author. I would definitely recommend. He's a very amazing author. And so basically he was giving all these quotes like about failure. People always wishing for things to be easier, or wishing for there to be no more challenges. He was like, don't wish things were easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for less challenges, wish for more wisdom. Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills. And so it was just like a light bulb moment, because we are going to have challenges, we are going to have problems, we are going to have all these things. But if we are sharper, if we are better in ourselves, constantly getting better, when they do arise, we'll be equipped with everything we need so that we can easily get through them. Or maybe it won't be easily, but we can get through them. So we gonna get through these challenges. They just gonna become a part of the process. And when they come up, you just like, oh, I'm a solution. So I'm a solution. I'm a problem solver. I got solutions. I got this.
Yes.
No, I was gonna say before I forget, Jazz, that's the thing. So in our minds, we have to change, we have to rewire our brain to say, okay, to rethink the process. We have to change how we view the process, basically. So instead of thinking about the risk and what that risk might look like on the end, failing, we have to change it to, I'm going to enjoy this process. And part of that, what I wanted to say, that's what I wanted to get to. Part of that is our goals. So choosing goals that you're not afraid to fail, right? Choosing goals where you can recover and you were like, okay, you know what? This was the goal. We didn't quite hit it, but I feel good. We've improved. This is the mark. Okay, we're improving. We can adjust here, make some changes. And I think about our listens. We had some goals with our listens. Okay, we want to be here. We're not quite there yet. We didn't hit our number, but we did get, so many listens in a day. We got so many listens this week. Our episodes are hitting the numbers a little bit faster. We feel proud about that. We don't feel defeated. We don't feel worthless because we didn't hit that goal. And so I can even see within us how we're setting goals and we're changing. Our mindset has changed based off of the goals that we've set and how we think about failure.
That's so good, because that's exactly what it is. It's like when you have a goal in mind, and I think, Jasmine, you said this earlier, like about plans in an earlier episode. It's just like, yes, you have to have a plan. You have to have a strategy for your life or your business and all these things. But that does not mean that the plan stays the same. Sometimes you have to shift it. This is something that I also have been learning at my job. It's just like, there is so much room for improvement. So you have this goal, right, for your life. I want to be this, I want to do that. And when you are actually looking at the steps that you are taking, if you didn't reach that goal, then you're like, okay, that must mean I need to change something. The goal is just to figure out what you need to do more of, what you need to do less of, what you need to change. So instead of looking like, hey, and this is the crucial part when it comes to failure. If you don't reach the goal, that is okay. So when you fail, like you were saying, Kobe, you have to make the choice, like you were saying, Kobe, in our soul filling gym, you have to make a choice. Are you going to change to do something better to get you to that goal? Or are you going to say, oh, I didn't reach that goal. I'm just gonna do the same thing. I'm just going to stop. That is that critical part in failure, is the choice that you make between doing something better, bettering yourself, changing some things, or being defeated. Because a lot of times, like, okay, failure seems like a deceitful thing. I even looked up the definition. It says failure is lack of success, the omission of an expected or required action. But it can't stop there, because I really feel like we have to redefine failure. Lack of success, that doesn't make sense to me. Failure, like you were saying earlier, is what we need to be successful. It's what's helping us get to the next level. And so, like you're saying, just like that relearning of the word, redefining that definition of failure to you, and maybe you shouldn't even see it as failure, but I really believe that when it comes to failure, is that choice you make when it happens.
Girl, it's like that famous quote that says doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results is insanity, right? And so it's like we fail and then we like, oh, let me just do that same thing harder. Let me just go harder at the same method that I was already taking. But it's like you said, guys, it's being able to self-assess, reevaluate the situation whenever you do fail. And my dog is behind me, y'all. But it's like being able to reevaluate and self-assess that situation, because that is what makes the failure become a success. It's like okay, see that ain't working. Okay, so now we sending newsletters out now. Okay, that didn't work. Okay, now we gonna send newsletters on top of doing video promotions, on top of running ads, on top of doing this. It's like you have to be willing to change. Like you just said, you have to be willing to change. When you find something's not working, okay, go back to the drawing board, figure it out. It's just like if you played on, I love referencing basketball because that's just my sport. I'm always around it. It's like, okay, you on the court, you playing, you constantly trying to play ISO ball where you trying to just take it to the hoop. And you realize, okay, maybe this ain't working. We losing right now. The score, we down. So what game strategy do we need to go redraw up? And maybe we need to do a pass, pick and roll, something, we need to do something different. We have to change the game that change the strategy that we're using. The game is still going to stay the same, but we have to change the strategy. So your goal is still going to be the same, but you just might want to tweak your strategy, tweak how you're approaching it, tweak how you're going about it, and then see if that gives you different results. And I like how, Kobe, you said something earlier, how whenever you do give all you got or you going after this thing, it don't necessarily feel like a loss. And the reason why and this is just my perception of it, is because there's something called risk management, right? And what risk management is, you're going to still take a risk. Everybody knows with risk, you can either win or you can either lose, right? Whenever you go for this thing, and whatever that thing is, if let's say you do fail, you do miss your numbers, you don't hit your stats, it's not such a detrimental loss where you out of your whole, you got to put your house up for it's going under foreclosure, you get your bank account wiped out, it's like you're taking strategic, and that's where the word strategic, I think that this word keep coming back, because that you're being strategic to the point where you have to put something in, but that thing that you're putting in is not going to wipe you out. And so there's something called over leveraging. And that's where you put in so much in to the point where you technically do lose it all. And so sometimes that end up happening. And this is where you go back to the drawing board and you say, oh, maybe I shouldn't have put all that in. Next time I'm gonna put a little less, or maybe I should have put more in, and I'm gonna put a little more in to this to see what it's gonna give me. What is it gonna yield? And you constantly just tweak until you get to the sweet spot, or you may need to grow a little bit it's like, you just have to, it's like, you gotta have a Midas touch. It's the proper risk. I don't know if y'all, I'm speaking in kind of investment lingo, but I hope y'all following what I'm saying.
Yes, no, I feel you. And I'm
Please
gonna tell you why.
I'm gonna tell you why
about over leveraging. I'm gonna tell you why. Jayla, because I moved out, I haven't really been hanging out with Jayla. So the way we kind of still connect and hang out and play with each other is we play 8-ball pool. It's a game on your phone or whatever. And so with this 8-ball pool, they have where you can collect coins, so I'm up in the millions on my coins. It's basically a little bit kind of like gambling. Like you're playing this game, you're winning money, and make you feel a certain way. And a lot of times what happens when I lose a lot of my money, I lose my coins, and I'm like trying to overcompensate. So I'm playing again, trying to win my money back. And that happens a lot. Like when people go to the casinos, right? They playing, they make a bet, they lose their money. Now they trying to double and, to win their money back. They trying to overcompensate. And so I was like, I want to read more about that. I want to understand, why do we do that? Why are we like that? And it says that when we experience a win, our brain release endorphins, dopamine and serotonin, which encourages us to engage in a task again. So when you win, you feel good. You're like, yes, I want to do it again. I want to do it again. Yes, right? When we experience a failure, our brain release cortisol. When we experience a failure, our brain release cortisol, and that does not leave us feeling good. We don't feel safe, you don't feel accepted, and now you're like trying to make up so you can feel that feeling of winning again, right? So that is where, like I said, going back to the mental, like what you said, Tiffany, choosing. So once you make that mistake, you have to accept it, understand it, take it for what it is, and make a conscious, like once you said, like you said, Jazz, strategic choice to say, okay, I'm going to recover from this. I'm not out the game, you know. Like you said, you know, I haven't lost my husband, I haven't lost my wife yet, I haven't lost my child, my family. I can recover from this mistake. I can come back from this. Yes, I can salvage this. I can fix this, or I can just step away, take my losses, you know, and move forward. Right. But at the end of the day, what I really want to say is we just really have to rewire how we think and just really focus on succeeding. You really want to put your mind on succeeding versus the risk of what's going to happen if I fail.
Right. That's so good. I'm so glad that you broke it down like that, because it's whenever we do get that failure and you left with that ultimatum of like, okay, I can go in so I can experience that sense of accomplishment, that achievement, because that's what ends up happening sometimes, especially when you know we fail and we're trying so if you've experienced win and you've experienced failure, you like, okay, you know what both of them feel like. Obviously we don't like the way failure makes us feel, so we like, and then you have that, yes. I don't know what it's called, that remorse where you want to hurry up and try to win it back again.
Yes.
Right at that space, it's like you at a crossroad right there. I feel like we need to slow it down to make that logical decision instead of that emotional decision. Like just because you're trying to hurry up and compensate for something. And that's with anything, guys. It's like you're at your job and you bombed a presentation. So you're going to hurry up and try to just loud talk your manager just so you can get a good point in, so you can feel like you said something good. Maybe it's your time to listen and absorb the knowledge that's being, you know, given to you in the meeting, so that you can, next time you could take those tips that you just learned and make a bomb ass presentation. You know, it's like sometimes we just, we have to have a Midas touch, y'all. We have to slow it down and really, really think about that decision that we're making, because it can be really transformational. And that's where you really take the lesson out of that failure, is when you're able to assess it, see, okay, that didn't work. Put your pride aside and realize I'm not always right. I could have went about this a different way, and figure out what it is that different way that you can go about it. And then from there, then you got the gain. That's when you got the win out of the thing that seemed like a failure.
That's so good. I had to write down like 1,000 points based off of what y'all were saying, because what I'm hearing y'all say is manage your emotions. There's this song called Tightrope by Janelle Monáe. Is that how you say her name? Janelle Monáe. And the lyrics say, you can't get too high. You can't get too low. Because if you too high, then you're surely be low. And so I used to did not understand that. It's just because, like you were saying, when you're high, you're like, you want to stay there. But sometimes being so high can bring you down, because you're like, I'm always trying to get that high. And so what we're saying is, when you're winning, win and enjoy it. But when you're failing, learn from it. But we have to know how to manage our emotions at both states. Like, you won, but you know this isn't the all and be all. You're like, okay, I won. I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying life. I'm living in the moment. But how can I keep winning? When I fail, you have to relearn and say, oh yes, I failed, but how can I learn from this? Okay, what did I do wrong? Manage those emotions, because if you don't, you're gonna start making these crazy, irrational emotions to get you back to that dopamine, that feeling good state. Or this middle space is really where you're like trying to figure out like, how can I stay there? It's an anxiousness. It's an anxiousness that comes along with trying to stay so high. And so now you're making bad decisions. So I totally agree with you when you say like slow down. But what I'm really hearing is like manage your emotions, whether you're high or low.
Yes, yes, yes. And the other part of that is to, I have to admit, guys, whenever I was younger, I had a job and I made a mistake. And, I'm typically really good about owning up to my mistakes. That's something that my mother taught me. And that's just something that we value, that we really try to hold true within our family and within, our loved ones, is that when you make a mistake, you own up to it. But this one particular time, I could not own up to it. I was so ashamed. I felt bad because I was just like, you should know better. You're old enough to know. But like, it was just really stupid. I still can't even tell y'all what it was that I did. Like, But the thing with failure, y'all, you have to own up to it. You have to own up to it. Sometimes, we aren't able to do that. But what ends up happening is you deny the people who, were affected by that failure or that mistake to be able to give you a chance to forgive you, to say, you know what, despite what you did, like, I love you.
Ooh, girl.
That's huge. That's huge.
That is so, girl, you bet you. Oh, so she wants to go deep. Soulmate, she wants to go deep.
Wow.
I feel like someone needs to hear this because like, that is so true. We love people so much. They don't understand by just owning up and being honest about your failures, because while you're thinking that you're hiding your failure, the people closest to you know what's going on. And we just want you to say, hey, I did this. Hey, I'm sorry. Yes, I did this in the past, because most of the time the people who love you will forgive you and have been waiting on you so you can forgive them, to get clarity, because like you're saying, Kobe, that affects them as well. You not being honest. And so I think it's destroying not only the people who love you, but it's destroying you inside, because you're not able to be free. When you own up to what you've done, nobody could put it in your face. But it's toxic for both you to harbor that inside, and it's toxic because the person is just waiting to be able to love you and to help you and to gain clarity for everyone. So owning up to that failure, that's, oh my God, I didn't even know.
Girl,
You went
that's
there.
a whole nother level right there. Yeah. And most times people, they love you regardless. They love you in spite of the imperfections, in spite of that failure. It's like we blow the failure in our minds out of proportion. But in the meantime, that person is, there is very rare, think about it, guys. In your past, people that has failed you, it's very rare that you cut them off from one failure. Right. Think about that. It's mainly most times like a plethora of serial things that they did until it's like, okay, now this is toxic. But if you do one thing, most times, if you come with full humility and just letting it out there, in most cases, people work with that failure. And it even brings people closer together when I think about it. And it's just, and I think that's the beauty. Like, as parents, think about, you have children, and our children, they fail. But you don't be like, I'm throwing the whole child away. My dad is times I failed. My dad never been like, I'm never going to talk to you again. Now, he may have been mad at me for a while, and he may have even been mad at me for more than a day or maybe even a week or so. But it's never just been like cutting you off a whole year. Bye, Felicia. And so sometimes it's like we like you said, we blow the things in our mind, we make it's really tormenting us because we can't live with ourselves, and we're the ones that have to free ourselves from that thing, that failure.
Ooh, y'all. Okay. I just get so emotional because, it's not because of what I did. Like, what I did was so small and so little, but it's just some other things that are going on. And it's just like, you just really want people to just own up to it. So it's like, it's like, it's easy to love someone when they're at their best. But when you're able to love someone through their flaws, like, that is beautiful. And that is the thing. That's what I want people to understand.
Yes, I totally agree. And
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you for being vulnerable, because I think a lot of people are growing from this. I'm growing right now.
Yes. It reminds me of like, because the reason why, so earlier today we were trying to figure out what we were going to talk about, right? Failure. And none of the other topics that I came up with was like having a mission statement for your life and having core values for your life, just because I just know how important that is for anything. And one of the core values that's been like bringing up for me lately has been honesty, because that when you're lying about your failure and things of that nature, that now it's more than failure. Now it's breeding dishonesty, and dishonesty breeds trust, right? And so it's just like one of the core values that I want to have in my life and with any other business that I have is being honest, because that honesty is, and with that core value saying, be honest, and then also knowing like, with you being honest, our space also allows you to like fail. Like, we're okay with that. And with my manager, with my brother and stuff like that, they've created a space where I'm okay with being honest, because I know that if I fail, that is okay. It's a part of the process. And so I just want people to understand about with this failure and like the domino effect, that if you don't confront that failure, if you don't accept that failure, and if you don't own that failure, it breeds other toxic things like dishonesty, which also leads to distrust in your families and in your business and stuff like that. So that was just my thought process.
Yeah. Yes. And then the other thing is, you can't grow from it. That's what I forgot to say. You can't grow from your mistake if you don't own up to it, if you don't admit it. I'm gonna be a little bit vulnerable, a little bit more. The thing is, my dad not being able to own up and accept the fact that he's struggling with alcoholism. It's like we can't confront it as a family. We can't get over that hurdle because we can't even own up to it, right? In a relationship, whenever one person lies about something and one person knows the truth, you're like, I know you did this. You still won't admit it. You still won't own up to it. It's like, y'all, the relationship is stuck. Y'all can't grow from that moment because that person is still like, I know you did this. I know you did this. And you just want to admit it. So y'all just own up to your mistakes so that you can grow from them.
I bet you can grow.
That be the part. That be the part. Could we be knowing? We all know.
Girl.
We know.
But it's that self-denial. Because y'all, I'm gonna be honest. It's hard. It's hard to look yourself in the mirror and say, I have a flaw. Like, I'm fucking up. Like, I'm not right. Something's wrong with me. Like, that shit, that stuff is hard for someone to really just, because, no one wants to be wrong. No one wants to say that they failed, and no one wants to, go through that. But the one thing I'm getting out of all of this is failure is fixable. Failure is fixable. It's not like you're thrown to damnation because you have this flaw, you failed, you've done something wrong. It's understanding that there is a way out of this, but it's like, it comes through upbringing. We gotta shed off a lot of that stuff that we were brought up and we were taught, thinking that just because you make a mistake, you're canceled. you're wrong. Like we want to write you off. Instead of encourage that growth and understanding that through this failure, I can grow from it. But the only way I can grow from it is if I acknowledge that it exists in me. Like avoiding it and trying to sweep it under the rug and hiding it and not acknowledging it is not going to get you any closer to overcoming it and growing from it. So really, really, we gotta, this is deep. And this is just with anything in my life I'm about to tell myself, because integrity is everything, especially when someone knows, like they know damn well you did this. They know, you know damn well I'm over here doing A, B, and C, but I can't even come to grips with A, B, and C. And maybe it's denial. A lot of times people are denying it because they're not ready to give it up. They're not ready to put that life behind them. They're not ready to say, okay, I'm about to come over. I'm ready to, I love this vice so much that, and it's not even, it's like you have to think about, you may not even love the vice, but this vice has become a part of you. This vice has become like it's become a part of your daily routine. It's become a habit. It's like, how habits are so powerful, and we really have to understand the power in habits. We don't even think about the habits. It's like we're on autopilot. We don't even sometimes know. It's like before you know it, you just look up and you over here doing like your just natural routine. It's just crazy to me. Like, have y'all ever found yourself driving a normal route that you would normally take, and you wasn't even supposed to be going to that place, but you find yourself going in that direction because it's like, this is your normal way that you typically travel. You're like, where am I going? I'm supposed to be going to such and such house. It's in this same way, but it's not that place that I'm supposed to be going to. And so a lot of times we are floating on autopilot. And this is why this whole being strategic, taking charge of your life, of your actions, of your habits is going to be very, very key to see, not even just to get to success, but to have a happy, healthy family, to have a healthy, happy relationship with yourself, to have self-love, like love yourself enough to take charge and take ownership of your actions, of our actions, y'all. It's so powerful, and we grow so much more. It's either we growing or we're digressing. Not digressing, we're going backwards. So guys, just love ourselves enough to even acknowledge the habits that could be potentially harming us or harming our loved ones.
Yes.
Ooh.
I feel like true I feel like true failure is that being stuck part. It's like that's really when the failure happens, is when you just stay there in that denial. And that one quote that we always hear all the time, the truth will set you free, is so true. Harboring all that stuff that you have bottled up is really just so toxic. We gotta let that out, and so it's just like, I just want us to be able to do that. And when I say like, because sometimes failure comes with something, and I want to like kind of be clear about this, because recently I've been very happy this week, but I'm always happy when I speak up for myself, because something may be feeling like I don't have enough time, or I need this, I need to let this go. And I so don't want to seem like a failure that I'm like, oh, I'll just wait. Let me just hurry up and get this done and it's not done to its best abilities or something like that. Or they don't know I need this, or I don't need that, because I don't want to look like a failure. But when I'm able to speak up and say, in order for me not to fail at this task, I'm gonna need more time. I'm gonna need to let this thing go. I'm gonna need a different system for that. And so when you're able to say, look, I'm failing doing life this way, these are the things I feel like I need help with, that sets you free, because now you're asking for help and you're able to move along and be in progress. And so what I'm saying is, a lot of times we are stuck in failure because we don't ask for help. We are scared to look like a failure, so we keep it all inside. Or it's just like we're it's the battle that we're having between ourselves, when little things could change that thing. But we have to have the courage to say, hey, cool, I'll look like a failure. Cool, yeah, I couldn't do this in time. So what? We have to let go of the disguise that failing is what you did.
And
It's okay.
people are willing to work with you when you tell them, oh, I didn't have enough time, instead of just not saying nothing and then the project is not complete. Or telling them like, hey, this is actually, we tell ourselves people gonna hate us, they're gonna be mad at us if we say no, or we say whatever it is that's deviated from the plan. But that communication that you are even letting them know can really, that's growth right there. We're saying we want to grow from this. That is growth in action right there. That little communicating and speaking up and just letting them know, hey, I tried my best. I gave it my all. I know the deadline is in 5 minutes, but here's what I have. Here's what I've been trying to do. Like, if you are struggling with some sort of addiction, hey, look, I know here, I've tried my best. This week, I didn't drink all, or I didn't smoke all, or I didn't do whatever. I didn't, whatever your vice is all week. But look, I slipped up yesterday. And it's like, oh, you can see like, oh, you really trying. And then we can build and encourage you and celebrate you because you're trying. But versus you just throwing your hands up and saying, hey, I'm not even gonna, like, I understand you want me to try, but I'm not even gonna acknowledge that. I'm gonna keep doing my same patterns. But people are really, really willing to work with people that are willing to speak up and show them how you're trying.
Y'all, I'm so glad y'all said that, because that is the thing we have, and we're all guilty of it. We all portray our lives as if success is all we know, and that we just successful. We get money, we looking good. We just portraying success, but we forget to reveal those moments when we didn't have the faith. We were struggling. We were like, God, what is going on? He closed some doors in our life. We don't show those moments when we looking raggedy, crying, snot falling, hanging out our nose, and we just don't know what to do. And God, can you please help me? We don't show those moments. We don't. And I think that's what we have to do. We have to start showing and being a little bit more authentic. And it's hard. It's easier said than done. I'm like, just act like I'll just go turn over a new leaf and just tomorrow I'm gonna start showing, everything. Like, no, it's hard. Like, I get it. But we do have to be a little bit more vulnerable and expressing and showing those moments. And then the other side of that is, I know y'all thought I was gonna share this moment, with everybody at the beginning, but I'm sharing it now because God is good. He has opened a door in my life, and I am so grateful because I have gotten a new job. I'm a new program coordinator of a nonprofit here in Houston, and I'm just so excited. But I want to take this moment to be vulnerable and to let the soulmates know that this has been 5 years in the making. Like, I interned for this company 5 years ago, applied every time that there was an opening, every single time that there was an opening, and nothing, denied each and every time. But God, I'm just so happy that God's timing and his plan is greater than my plan, because, it happened. It happened. And I just want y'all to know that it's going to eventually happen for you too. Like, you might be getting a no right now. People might not be, messing with you, your music, your company, your brand, whatever. But it's eventually going to be a yes.
So you just want to, congratulations, Kobe. And
Thank you.
Girl, you beam it. And I thank you for sharing that. Yes. Whew.
That is a gem. Like, because it will happen. And the thing I like about God, I think I love about God, he make it plain to see, oh, that was me. That was me, okay?
Yes, Tim, okay. Yes.
He makes it undeniable. Y'all, I don't want, like, she explained it, but we've been talking about a particular job for years. like y'all don't understand. So
years. That's why when you no go.
Yeah, but I'm just saying the line up. And when we say God orders your steps, this ain't no coincidence. I want people to understand this, okay? Yes, you are putting in your effort, so you're gonna grow and you're gonna go places that you never seen before. But that touch of God that makes it like, oh, that was me. Like, yeah, I see you working. Yeah, I see you applying. I see you do. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you the job that you've been desiring at the right time, when you need it most, where you could do what you want to do. You like, it's just,
come on.
You really reflect.
Yeah.
You could have had any job. You could have got it any different job, but this job.
This one, Kobe, that's why when you told me, I was like, I heard this job before. You applied to this job before. But God was like, no, you got baby boy, you got Kaden. I see you doing big things. Let me give it to you right now. Let me give it to you at God's time. Let me give it to you when you need it the most, where it's going to make the most impact in your life. That's that trust in the process. And I know Kobe, I know how hard she works day in and day out, and how she's such a great, y'all, she's so diligent at what she does. She never stopped missing a beat just because she didn't get it 5 years ago. She kept grinding. She kept being the best version of herself, kept growing. And it's like, God seen all that. But like, had you not got it 5 years ago and was like, you know, when they send you them little discouraging ass emails, you're just not qualified for the, like,
decided to go with another candidate.
Right. Like, she could have easily, and we could have easily, like, when we get those discouraging no's, we could easily sink into these slumps. And I'm not gonna lie, maybe you do, but you have to pick yourself up out of it. You can't stay in that slump. Yes, it might be discouraging. Yes, you might need to take a day, a week, a month to, you know, sulk in it, but you gotta get out of it. You gotta keep going. You gotta grow. Like, the best investment, I'm all about investing in stocks and investing in this brand and companies, but the best investment to invest in is you yourself, your knowledge, your skills, your assets, your wisdom, yourself. Like, and so I just see my girls, and I constantly see my girls always investing in themselves and just being the best version of themselves. And so God is seeing that too. And so God is like, I see all this growth. Let me give you something that matched the level that you have grown to, because now you're equipped with everything that you need for this job. You overqualified now.
Come on now. Look, Jazz, you just said a whole word, because that's the thing. Now, this is my last little thing that I'm gonna leave the soulmates with, and I'm done with it. But no, after a failure like that, you know, because it was those moments, I did get upset. I was mad, you know, when I did get those no's. But the thing that I did and continue to do was practice self-care. I was like, you know, I'm gonna take care of myself, take care of my mind, and I'm gonna keep going. I evaluated what went wrong. Okay, why didn't they pick me? Looking at my resume, looking at reading books and reading articles about interviewing, you know, trying to better myself, like you said. And then figuring out my finances, because, you know, hey, we all need money. We all need jobs. This is why we get the jobs, so that we can have money. Okay. So figuring out your finances and, you know, bouncing back right there. Having friends like Tiff and Jazz saying, hey, look, go apply for this. You know, hey, you got this, you smart, you know, just to speak life into you, to help you. And then the last thing is just reinventing yourself. So all of those things are going to help you. Like you said, I took other jobs. I said, okay, you know what? Let me look at the skills and see what they looking for. Let me go apply for this job and it'll help me gain that skill. Let me go over here, read this book, take this course, and I'll get that, gain that skill. So I'm coming back and I'm like, hey, I got the interview. Let me reintroduce myself. Okay. All right. I'm not that girl, you know, that you met when you intern. I'm not the girl that applied 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 1 year ago.
I love it.
This is the new and improved Jasmine Colbert. Okay.
Come
Full
on.
name, okay?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
gosh.
And y'all, it's beautiful. I got one quick example that reminds me of this story, and to the T. It's like almost identical. And this is what I think our soulmates have to take for this. You might have applied for something 5 years ago, but what you do between that 5 years to who you are now will make all the difference of y'all. Hang on, y'all. My dog's trying to get on the podcast. Okay. So, but no, and let me tell you this quick story that just happened to Jarvis. Very similar to that. So Jarvis and I, we've been dating for 4 years. He went to this combine year 2 of our relationship, a basketball combine at U of H to play overseas basketball. Tell me why. We just went to a combine weekend before last. It ended up being one of the coaches that he played for on the team. And 4 years ago, 2 years ago, something like that. Tell me why. He went out there, he killed. He was a completely different player than who he was on the court 3 years ago. Court vision, IQ had grown, steadily stayed in the gym, crafting your shot, crafting your task, and to the point where now he got a call back like, hey, we need you in Atlanta end of March. Like, can you do it? Yes or no? And so it's just like, everything just be coming full circle. And it's like, y'all, this is big, because you might apply for something today. You might meet this person today, and maybe it's hard to think that you don't have it all right now, because we always want to tell ourselves we got it all. I do this. I work this many hours. I work hard. I be busting my ass. So like, you feel like you already ready. And like, even with our podcast, we felt like we were already ready back then. But now it's like, looking at these growth for these 4 years, I know we are ready. Like, it's like, so what I'm trying to say is keep develop. When you get that no, don't take that no and just sit on it. Take that no and figure it out. What is it that I need to do? What is it about me that I need to better? And I feel like I'm repeating myself. I feel like I already said this when I told that Kobe story, but it's just beautiful to see the full circleness. It's so beautiful, because if you stay on your horse, when you get knocked down and get back up on that horse and really just better yourself, there is no doubt. And it's beautiful that how people you met in the past, companies that you may have applied for in the past, will all come back full circle and could be your groundbreaking outbreak, whatever it's called. Like, it's just your breaking moment of your breakthrough. That's the word, your breakthrough. Okay.
Yes, I love all of it. And I just want us to remember that life is a journey. We hear this all the time, but when you said this is a full circle moment, I was already picturing this as a journey, right? And so my brother said something that really stuck to me. I was listening to an interview he had with the Urban League, and he said something so profound to me. And he said, basically, it's like when God gives you a vision, see it through. But he says, but you got to do it exactly how you see it. And I think a lot of times we don't do that. God gives us a vision and we're like, okay, I see the vision, but I'm gonna do this little part, or because there's no way it could be this big. Let me just do this or that. Or how am I gonna do this, God? You're scared to fail and all these other things. But when you see that vision clearly and you don't stop, that journey starts with your vision and it becomes full circle to get to where it's manifested. But you have to go full circle. You have to fail. You have to meet people along the way. People have to see your growth. You have to learn. Our mental state, the things that we have learned in just the midst of 2020 has created our minds to be so much different. The way we think is different now. And now I can't even imagine with my old mindset from 5 years ago being in the predicament that I'm in now, or receiving that blessing back then when I didn't have the mindset for it at all. I mean, you might have a good mindset, but God is preparing you. If you're not getting your blessing now, that blessing that you want, trust and believe. The reason why you have to keep going, you have to keep meeting people, you have to keep failing, you have to keep being molded, you have to keep getting these different opportunities so your mind and your body and everything, your soul could be molded for that blessing that God had put in your heart. So yes, it's a full circle moment, but yes, it's a journey, and you're going to have to go through some things first so that you can, when you do get that blessing, you're prepared to handle it and flourish in it, because God loves you that much to give it to you at the right time. Y'all silly.
Yes, Tiff. Yes.
Girl. Circle. And you made me think about it. It's a circle. A circle is round. And like you said, the circle is the journey. It's not a period. It's not going to happen in a snap of a finger. It's on that circle. What are you doing? Every step of that circle. What are you doing until you get back to the starting point of that circle?
Yeah.
Okay, my dog.
When that vision becomes a manifestation, you know, it starts with the vision, and the full circle is the manifestation when you're like, wow, we made it. Now, and then in that circle too, guys, now like I'm just visualizing, just think about all the other seeds that were planted there. So now you're going this way and that way, different businesses, different relationships that are now flourishing, these other things along the way that you picked up on your way to your journey that creates more circles, more vision, more beautiful things that it's just beautiful. Now I'm just, y'all, my vision is crazy right now. Like I'm about seeds and in multiple flowers, because with our vision, trigger other people's vision. It helps other people along the way. And so that's why it's just important to stay the course and not give up on something that God has put into your heart.
Agreed.
So, yeah. Kind of went kind of crazy today.
That's all I got. Y'all got anything else?
I'm in.
No.
Girl.
Notes, but I feel like we already covered everything.
Girl, I ain't even get to a fraction of our notes. I just deviate. God was leading this conversation.
Okay, keep that in the phone. You don't need to talk about it. I got it.
Right. You might say this for next week's episode. Alrighty, y'all. All right, my dog has to potty, so he like notifying me right now. He's like, come on. All right, guys. So, what time is it, y'all? It's affirmation time. It's affirmation time. It's affirmation time. Y'all, if this is your first time tuning in on the Soul Feeling Podcast, we always end our podcast with a positive affirmation. So what the heck is an affirmation? An affirmation is any statement that you are using to transform your life. Either you're transforming your life for the good, or you transforming your life for the demise. Even in the Bible, it states, let the weak say, I am strong. Keyword, guys, say. So when you're feeling down and out, sick and tired, not like your best self, you still got to speak uplifting, positive, breakthrough words and phrases over your life. I'm affirming, well, there are 3 of us, and I'm affirming that there are millions, billions, trillions, and generations to come out here tuned in. And we're going to go ahead and end this thing off with our positive affirmations. So who wants to go first? Whew.
I'll go. I am confident in my journey.
I am learning from my failures and turning them into huge wins.
I am admitting my mistakes, learning from my failures, and I am successful.
Yes, let them know where to find us too.
Yes, I'm so glad that y'all came out so amazing. I really just want y'all to do us a favor and subscribe wherever you're listening, because every Tuesday we drop in this hot fire, soul feeling fire. And please share this, because we want other people to be able to have breakthroughs by listening to this podcast. So share it on Instagram. But the best way for us to get this impact is for you guys to give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. That really helps us get up in the rankings, so more people are listening, can hear about us, and so we could get the soul fed of millions, gazillions, trillions of people, like we always say. So we really do appreciate you guys for spending your time listening to us. It means the world. We love you so much.
Until next time, soulmates. Bye.